and I start walking backwards, just keeping my eye on her. And then as soon as I start getting a few feet away, I just dip. I run to my car. When you go to a college, university, there is a very big problem that every single student has to go through. And that is picking between a social life, money, and grades. In this chart that I made, you can have fun with your friends, you can have great grades, but you'll be living off ramen noodle wrappers. Or you can have decent grades, make some decent amount of money working on campus, but then you'll have to cry yourself asleep watching everyone else have fun on your Snapchat. Or you can make a decent amount of money, then use said money to pop bottles at the club with your friends.
To the break of dawn, yo!
But then you're gonna have to use that money to buy luggage to pack your bags because you failed out of school by midterms. Now, a lot of kids at universities in general come from well-off families, so for them, the money's already covered, they got it coming in monthly, so they don't have this predicament. Meanwhile, for kids like me, my parents aren't doctors and didn't invent Google, obviously, because they hate me. So this led me to doing delivery services like Grubhub, Uber, Eats. Not regular Uber. I would do regular Uber, but the idea of potentially being in the same car as a serial killer, not too pleasing to me. The upside is I get to make a decent amount of money and make my own schedule, so if all the boys are hitting up happy hour mimosas at 5 p.m. on a Wednesday, I'm there. Just gotta remember to keep an extra pair of jeans in the trunk. The downside, of course, is dealing with people. The amount of people that mess up the most easy delivery system on the planet should be punishable by law. The amount of people who put in the address, and then when I'm 5 seconds away from getting to the address, tell me, oh, accidentally put in the wrong address, should be punishable by law. People always forget to leave their lights on at night, so it looks like I'm delivering to the Nightmare on Elm Street. Or people just live in sketchy areas. I've delivered to sketchy motels, sketchy apartments late night. Like, I'll be walking through completely dark alleys, just primed for someone to come up behind me and grab me and tickle me to death, or whatever people do these days. Luckily, I have the body of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and I'm 7'5", so people know not to F with me.
Psych!
I've seen tons of sketchy people. I've delivered to tons of sketchy locations, but luckily my life has never been in any, real danger. But there is one delivery that was a lot creepier than the others. It was definitely nighttime and I got delivered. It was to Taco Bell. I checked the order and of course it's to an apartment complex. The problem with apartment complexes is they suck. They're huge. Most of the buildings don't even correlate in numbers. And 99% of the time, the person ordering the food doesn't even tell you how to get to their apartment. Most of the time, those little boards, in the front that tell you exactly how to get to the building that you're looking for, most of them are lies. They don't work. I'm sorry. Or maybe you're just dumb. Probably. But the worst part is the building numbers on top of the buildings. At nighttime, most of them are not lit up. They're impossible to see. So I have to literally get out of my car and just walk around the entire complex looking for it. I roll up to this apartment and it was actually pretty dark outside. Luckily, it wasn't too hard to find. I was on the phone with my friend Martina at the time. As I start to get near the apartment, my phone just cuts off.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy. Hello? Hello?
I check my phone. Of course, I'm out of service. Luckily, at this point, I had already pretty much found out where the apartment was, so I just start rolling up to it. As I get to the door, it actually wasn't that sketchy. The lights were on, they were blasting music, they had strobe lights going on, so they were obviously having a party. The only problem was, why wasn't I invited? Obviously, my invitation got lost in the mail. Better yet, they probably didn't want me to go. As soon as I start releasing some of my dance moves, the party would have to shut down. It's a fire hazard. I understand, it's not my first rodeo. I go to knock on the door, but it was so loud in there that I knew that they probably weren't gonna hear it. You could hear people moving around, music blasting, people talking, so I decided to knock on the door again. This time it works because I hear a girl inside of the party hey, turn it down. I think someone's at the door. So after that, they turn the music down and then it gets dead silent, which was pretty weird, but whatever. Then I hear someone start walking up to the door. Then I hear a girl go, all right, I'm gonna go open the door. I got it. And then she goes to open the door. The door starts opening slowly, and then she opens it, and it was so weird. She was kind of far away from the door, and she was just staring at me. So of course, I'm just kind of like, did you order food? Because a lot of times people do order food and put the wrong address and stuff like that. So sometimes when I go to people's houses and I'm like, hey, I'm your Grubhub, here's your food. And they're like, who the f are you? And then it becomes extremely awkward. This girl, she ain't saying nothing. She just kept staring at me. And I'm like, okay. So I start to look over more into the house as she's staring at me. She's in this place alone. There's not a single other person in this apartment. And I knew that for a fact because she lived in a studio. There was no rooms inside of it. So it was literally her alone dancing and talking and singing and doing all this weird stuff. So then I just kind of take the bag and just kind of try to give it to her, you know, like put it in her hand. And she doesn't even put her hand out. She just beams at me. And at this point, I'm starting to get real freaked out. Like, I don't know, like, what's going on. My heart starts pounding a little bit faster. I try to give her the bag. I put my hand up to give it to her again. Instead of taking it, she just starts chuckling. Just starts laughing at me in the most creepy way. After that, I'm like, yo, I gotta get the out of here. So after that, I take the bag, start giving it, try and put it in her hand again, and then she like barely takes it, like by the tips of her fingers, and continues to stare at me. And she continues chuckling. She's laughing the entire time in the most weird, creepy, cartoonish way. I finally get the food in her hand, and I start walking backwards, just keeping my eye on her. And then as soon as I start getting a few feet away, I just dip. I run to my car. I'm not even lying to you. I was a little in that moment. As I'm running in my car, she keeps laughing. And not only that, it gets louder and louder. As I get inside my 2009 Prius, I push the pedal as fast as it can go. As I'm hitting the max speed out of this apartment complex at about 12 miles per hour, I look back over to the apartment door and she's still out there. In fact, she's farther out and she's just laughing at me creepily and staring at me as I drive away. As I leave that area, no joke, my phone comes right back to life and I have full service. I'm so confused. I'm like, what just happened? So yeah, that was like extremely creepy. My most creepy Uber by far. If I had to guess, she was probably on drugs or something, or maybe she was just a weirdo.
Right.
It was so creepy. I guess the only upside, of this whole story, if there is one, is she left a fat tip.